Peter McGuire is with us, CEO at XM.com. Peter, good morning. Just the person I wanted to speak to. The Australian index seemed to be very happy that Hillary Clinton is coming into power.
Well, good morning, Ashu. Yes, it certainly had a nice rally over the last couple of hours. It kicked off Monday morning quite smartly, and Tokyo's up as well, as I heard you say, but yeah, it's been a fairly strong morning for the equities in Australia.
Right. So, Peter, let me just say this. I just want to go back to the Brexit event. I mean, it was such a hoopla event, and when it went away, I mean, in 24 hours, the market was like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm just wondering, nobody really knows whether it's Hillary or Trump, and whether the FBI says she opened her emails or didn't open her email. Why is the market just behaving like a psychotic back and forth?
Well, it was probably oversold. I think, if you look at the Dow over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, it's dragged a lot of these markets lower. We were well off. We're up nearly 75 points this morning. So I think that they've probably been oversold. Markets are very irrational in their behaviour. People say that they're normal, but I mean, anything but. And we've seen that very strong move. Tokyo's up 220 points. So it's not unusual. When they bounce hard. Let's see what happens tomorrow, but you could quite easily see the market back down tomorrow.
And Peter, you brought up a very interesting point. Do you think in the build-up to this presidential elections, there are a lot of people have tried to go short in the market, and especially bigger investors, and maybe this is turning out to be a short trap, and that irrespective of the results, actually people may just have to cover up?
Well, exactly. Shorts get squeezed, Ashu. It's not unusual in these sort of markets. They can get squeezed very quickly if you're trading futures or you've got leverage on your side. You can get hit pretty hard. Gold's off the best part of about $12. Crude's had a massive washout over the last, 4 to 5 sessions. Absolutely hammered to the downside. And I think that a lot of these markets, if you take on board also US dollar, we're going through probably just a bounce. Markets go too erratic sometimes, and I think it was probably oversold, as I mentioned. And if you look up and if you can get a graph up over the last, say, month for crude oil, if you can work that market out, I think you're a very, very wise man.
Right. So, Peter, what are your thoughts about Asian currencies? Because the dollar index is very, very close to 100. And I've actually seen some data which shows that it's even gone as high as 120 at one point of time. What does that do to a number of Asian currencies? And maybe if you can start with Australia.
Well, where we're sitting at the moment, it just depends on as far as what's going on. If there is a rate rise, and let's put our mind back a couple of days, those unemployment numbers came out Friday. We're also mindful as far as if there is a rate rise in December in the US, if the Fed moves on that, then it's certainly going to push the dollar, we think, higher. The uncertainty, of course, is who gets into the White House over the next couple of days, and that'll become very evident in the next 48 to 72 hours. Or we'll get a better understanding. So if the US dollar does trend higher, if Clinton gets in, I think the US dollar trends higher. They put rates up. If Trump gets in, it's an unknown, and that really creates what markets don't like, which is volatility or uncertainty, which the byproduct of uncertainty is volatility. So if the US dollar strengthens, a lot of these other emerging markets, of course, Asian currencies, I think will probably be pushed to the downside.
Peter, just one quick thought from you on commodities. Could you just walk us through, because in India, the best performing indices are commodities and metals. Could you just explain why coking coal prices, why prices of some of these commodities are rising at the level they are? Because we're really not seeing pickup in end use or pickup even in manufacturing.
Well, exactly right. One of the big points of concern was that these markets got so heavily pushed to the downside. Iron ore, of course, well down, and coking coal, which was just beyond, I think, even any analyst's expectations. The market since then has risen to the best part of, 130 to 170%, depending upon the day and the week. But it's been a dramatic, uplift over the last, say, 3 to 5 months. And will that momentum stop? I don't necessarily think it'll stop. It'll probably slow down a little bit, but I think there's more upside for those markets. leading into the Northern Hemisphere. Traditionally, it's a cold period of time, steel production, and of course for energy. So where it rolls from here, I think there's probably further upside in those markets, and again, a volatile time, which is quite normal for commodity land.